you want people to know all over the world? This is going to be available. This broadcast will be available all over the world. What do you want people to know?
I think the number one thing to know is there might be nothing wrong with you. There really might be. Even if you're certain that there's something wrong with you, that only puts you in the majority. We all think there's something wrong with us, so it's quite normal to think that there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
And there might not be. So the idea that you might think you have a psychiatric condition of anxiety disorder, depressive disorder, social phobia, post-traumatic stress disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, or some sort of spectrum-based disorder, or some sort of bipolar disorder, or schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, all
Oh my
these
gosh.
disorders.
That's exhausting, right?
Yeah, it's exhausting. And maybe you don't have any of those.
Yeah.
And
What
when
about
you,
people well, what if I may, so what about people that are preoccupied, that are walking around there just in their own head,
yeah.
and they're not really paying attention to other people and they're preoccupied? What do you recommend for those kind of folks?
Well,
'Cause
those
I see
people
a lot of them.
more than likely, most of those people have already been diagnosed with something and are taking medications that are actually causing that behavior.
Okay.
So it isn't
Okay.
those people are not just simply like eating good foods and keeping themselves detoxed and, drinking a lot of water and doing their exercises and meditation and mindfulness programs that are
Yeah.
really required to keep ourselves above water and radiant. They're not
Mhm.
doing that. They're actually taking medicines each and every day and have already bought the notion that they have a diagnosis, probably from a psychiatrist or an institution somewhere. And
Yeah.
then they're walking around talking to themselves or homeless or whatever. And we think there's something
Mhm.
wrong with them. When if you took their medicine, there'd be something wrong with you too. You'd be
Right.
doing exactly what
That's
they do.
true.
The
Yeah, that's true.
medicines often
Yeah.
cause, increase, or perpetuate the symptoms they're marketed to treat. So
Mhm.
that's the problem, is that when we start thinking there's something wrong with us, we then go down that track of needing some form of treatment or fixing. And then we go into the psychiatric industrial complex and get medications. And
Mm.
those medications and the diagnosis itself sometimes actually creates the symptoms that actually makes us think that there's something wrong with us. So it's
Mhm.
often the horse in front of the cart in front of the
Cart
horse,
in front of the
and
horse.
that's we get a real problem that way. So if
Mm.
people around the world want to know one thing, it's that your voice is welcome. Who you really are when you're actually moving that needle forward is totally welcome. The world is completely interested in who you are. Your loved ones and the people in your world are completely
Mhm.
curious about your real and honest self. No matter whether you think you have a diagnosis or if there's something wrong with you, doesn't mean that there
Mhm.
is.
Yeah, that's a fantastic sentence, what you just said.
Thank you.
And I hope that people really take that to heart, because and rewind this to hear that again, because what you just said is, I mean, that puts everything in perspective.